Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Hello. Today we're talking to Colonel Col Souza, our illustrious group commander. This is his 12th stop in his 23 and a half years in the military. But he has at least one more left in him as he joins the Space Force in the coming months. His dad is a retired E8 in the Army, so he's lived in many places growing up, but he claims Colorado Springs, where he finished his childhood along with his brother and sister and held his first job as a janitor at a private high school/church. He then went on to school a couple hours up the road, where he graduated with his bachelor's in political science and completed ROTC at the University of Wyoming. He has since completed 3 master's degrees and a Rand Fellowship. He and his wonderful wife, Devon, are on level 22 of their marriage, and they have 2 sons, Zach and Zane, the latter of which may have even bagged your groceries at the local commissary. One quirky thing about Colonel Souza is that he hates potlucks, but he loves smoking meat, as well as geocaching, reading, listening to smooth jazz or 80s music, depending on his mood, and spending time with his family. He is a family man through and through and is extremely proud of his boys and has enjoyed watching them grow into men. If you've ever interacted with Colonel Souza or heard him brief, you may not think it, but he is actually an introvert, which is something he has had to work on as he's risen through the ranks of military leadership. Like Indiana Jones, he hates snakes. But maybe unlike Indiana Jones, is something he wishes he was better at is remembering names. And his hidden talent is a pantry organizer. So you mentioned when you were a kid that you were coming home from the commissary and the bomb squad responded.
Yeah, it's a fun story, Chaplain. So we lived overseas. We lived at a tiny army caserne in Germany, just north of Frankfurt, called Gelnhausen. And this was in the mid-'80s when there was a pretty big terrorist threat to U.S. forces. This was when the Berlin discotheque was bombed. And so for a little while, my brother and I, we went to elementary school. We had to go to school with soldiers. They escorted us from our house to the elementary school and back home. So it was kind of neat having your armed guard, but it was also a little bit scary. So imagine this heightened tension when we're worried about, was a group called the Baader Meinhof gang that would kidnap Americans and threaten Americans. And there were some assassinations of some ambassadors in Greece and other places. And I'm going to the commissary to pick some stuff up. And on my way home on this bench is a metal box. I thought it looked cool. I'm an elementary school kid, and I'm like, why wouldn't you take this metal box home that's just laying there? Who knows? There's riches in it. There's treasure. Maybe that's my early beginnings of geocaching. And so I picked this box up, and I bring it home, and my mom freaked out. And she said, what is this? I'm like, I have no idea. It's a locked metal box, but there's probably something cool inside. It was literally out in the public. So in between the housing area and the commissary is a public road that the Germans would drive through. And that's where I picked this thing up. So long story short, the MPs showed up because it was an army base, and the bomb squad showed up. And big, huge brouhaha. They had to rope the area off. And of course, I'm answering all these questions. Like, why did you pick this up? I'm like, I'm in 4th grade. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. So they opened it up. The bomb squad did. There was nothing in it, and they let me keep the box. They didn't blow it up or anything, so I had it for years and years and years. And I used it as kind of my special box, and I put my allowance in it and other little trinkets and kind of stuff. So gave my parents a slight heart attack, and I think I made the base paper, but it was pretty cool. So there you go. Growing up in the 80s and in West Germany at the time.
Wow.
So
well, I'm glad you didn't bring explosives home.
Right?
So you also said one of your worst injuries growing up was breaking your leg. What were you doing?
Yeah, so this is actually when I was on active duty. I was at Wright-Patterson, and I was running, and it was a stress fracture. And I felt something when I came back from my run. You know, many of you go run, and when you get back, you're a little bit sore. And I was like, man, my leg just really hurts. And so I went home and put my foot up, and then within a couple hours I tried to stand up, and it was just excruciating pain, and I had fractured my femur. And long story short, it was attributed to running, a stress fracture, and I've had multiple stress fractures since then running, and matter of fact, Doc Avala's done a great job of taking care of me, and she sent me down to Travis, and they x-rayed my legs, and I have multiple breaks in my legs fractures, if you will, and they don't know why, but that's I guess that's just part of my genetics. I have weak bones. Like Bubba Gump, I guess I have weak bones.
You're like Mr. Glass.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Just didn't know it.
Gotta be careful. So,
well, the holidays are coming up. What do you like to smoke meats? What's your favorite? What's your plans coming forward?
So for Christmas this year, I am smoking about an 8-pound turkey, so nothing crazy. My favorite thing to smoke is brisket, and brisket takes a long time. If you're going to smoke it right, I know there's probably some smokers out there that go, yeah, you got to do it right. This is a 2-day process to smoke brisket. Mm-hmm. From the time that you want to have it, 2 days from the time you want to have it, you got to back that up. So I love smoking brisket, and it takes about 15 hours in the smoker, and that's in addition to all your prep time. My family likes tri-tip when I smoke that, and lately my wife and I really like the smoked salmon that we pick up at Costco. It's boneless, skinless. It's also the fastest thing I smoke. You can do it in about 90 minutes. So anything from fish to birds to our friend the cow, I'm all in on smoking meats. That's what I do.
You guys had no idea that your group commander was so talented, organizing pantries, smoking meats.
Yeah, so we have a lot of good airmen that barbecue, and one of the things we wanted to do before COVID hit is we wanted to have a site-wide barbecue and have everybody do their favorite kind of smoking dish. I hope we'll get there before I give the guidon back this summer, but I think that would be something really fun to do because we have a lot of airmen that do a lot of great things and a lot of barbecue aficionados out there that I think would do really well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for taking a few minutes to share some insight into your life. You all have a great day.
Yeah, thanks.
Getting to like you, getting to hope you like me.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't already gathered, the whole point of these things is to hopefully get to know each other a little better. We want to make more of these, and if you're a willing participant and would like to be a featured interviewee, please reach out to me. Take care.